He came to the Philippines 20 years ago for a round of golf with one of his clients at the Clark Freeport Zone in Pampanga. Today, he has transformed Clark into a premier destination for integrated resorts and luxury developments. Hann Casino Resorts is now the crown jewel of Clark's gaming scene and is slated to list at the Philippine Stock Exchange in September. With me now is the founder and CEO of Hann Group, Daisik Han. 안녕하세요.
Hi.
Daisik, thank you so much for joining us on this
Thank you.
program. So how's the IPO coming along?
I think it's going pretty okay. We've gotten pretty good positive feedback, so I think it should be okay.
Should be okay in a market of volatility. I mean, we've seen the Mid-East tensions and also the uncertainty over interest rates.
Yes, but right now our main market is more domestic, and then a few foreign markets, and then as everybody knows, this Philippines is more of a consumer-driven market. And Korea is more of exporting-driven market, and then all of the tariff and tension. I don't think Philippines will be very much affected.
All right. Well, you said in an interview 2 years ago at the ASEAN Gaming Summit that you were really looking for multiple, that you wanted to watch interest rates and where they headed before you timed your listing at the Philippine Stock Exchange. What are you now seeing in the way of rate policy here in the Philippines? And how critical was that in deciding that you will list in September?
Okay. I've been thinking about this listing for a couple of years, and then there should be compelling reasons why I have to go for IPO. Right now, the most important thing is I have a lot of plans in place for future expansion. And when I see it's like, if I don't go for IPO right now, I can have like 100% ownership of my company. And then let's say 2 to 3 years from now on, or even 5 years, what is going to be the value of the company? What I need to do is I need to somehow look into the pacing of this development instead of like being very aggressive, because right now this all of the development, like I'm not building 1 or 2 billion pesos of projects. It's going to be tens of billion pesos of projects. So
How much exactly?
well, so far, I think I have invested more or less something like 50 billion pesos so far, and then the next project I'm eyeing right now is going to be something like around 40 billion in Clark, and New Clark City is going to be much, much bigger than that. And then I'm very confident on my master plan. That's why instead of trying to keep everything myself and then try to somehow slow down all of this development, it's much better to go to this public market and then be aggressive, because I know that this will improve the value of the company in a couple of years. I'm very confident. That's the reason why I'm going for IPO. Yeah.
You're very confident. I can hear it in your voice, but tell us what makes you confident that this is the way to go, make that bold step and go and list and use the money for the expansion.
Okay. I think I need to talk about a little bit more of my background, how I ended up in the Philippines. Actually, I came to the Philippines year 2005 to play golf with my friends. And then after that, end of 2005, I realized this eco zone, the Clark, has potential because of Clark International Airport. With the common sense, NAIA Airport has been fully saturated, even back then 20 years ago. And then Philippine government doesn't have money. And the Clark Airport is given by US military. So to me, it was like no-brainer that someday somebody will think, okay, why we have to develop this Clark Airport? And I have seen the potential of that. That's the reason why I decided, okay, I need to study what is going to be the business opportunity there. And when I was young, my family was very, very poor, maybe less than 30 square meters of small like room. And then, as you know, Korea has 4 seasons and winter is pretty harsh. So we had to have like charcoal burn in the middle of the room. And I was hospitalized a couple of times because of this carbon dioxide. But fortunately, my father, he became self-made man. He had wild like life when he was young, but he was able to set up his business bit by bit. And then now, not very big, but my family company is kind of established in my hometown. That's when I grew up. That's what I have seen from my father. And My father, as a self-made man, he has very strong character, and I have very strong character. And when I joined my father, year 1996, we had clashed a lot of times because I wanted to have more of like society has changed and then the culture has changed. So the way we manage company has to be different. But my father, he's like very old school. No, when I was young, it was so difficult to make money. So we have to cut the cost. The saving is the best way of doing. Yes, but we cannot expand the company. There's clash. And I realized the company is set up by my father, not by me. So I've been thinking, I need to do something for myself. Even though my father on the paper, and then he told me that the company is for me, and in paper I used to own around 80% of that and 20% owned by my father, because he was very firm that I had to inherit this thing. But to me, myself, I was thinking, no, this is not done by me. I need to do something for myself. So what I did was I invested around small amount of money in Seoul, like real estate. I bought a condominium with kind of big leverage actually. And then after that, I sold it and I jumped into another one and I jumped into the building, something like this. And I was able to make something like more or less like 3 million US dollars. That became seed money when I came to the Philippines.
And you took on Widus because
Yes.
you saw Widus near bankruptcy, low occupancy rates. That must have been such a challenge for you. That was
Yes.
2006, just before the global financial crisis.
No, I set up company with us in the Philippines 2006, but after signing of this lease agreement, everything with the CDC, I opened first hotel 2008. That's the time I had finance crisis, and then occupancy was like only like what 3%, 5% during weekdays, and weekend some 10%. It was really tough. It was really tough. But
That didn't take you down and make you think about maybe it wasn't a good move at all to take the money you earned in Seoul and bring it to Clark.
yeah, actually, yes, there was that time I had I thought of all different things. What am I doing here? And then is it really right my path to do? But there's something in my heart because not because of money. This was from the beginning when I came to the Philippines. That was my first business. Is something like baby. I have grown up this baby, and then I've been with this baby, and I cannot abandon this because I'm having a hard time. That's not what parents do, right? So that's why I have to go with this thing. But I was lucky enough to have acquire a casino license in 2009. That was turned around, and I keep on investing, building another hotel, and then I happened to have first five-star hotel, Marriott, and actually Marriott didn't want to give Marriott brand. They said Courtyard, but I said no Marriott, no deal. And then they were not very optimistic about this ADR occupancy, but 6 months after we opened Marriott in 2018, we were able to achieve something like 70%. So what I have seen that there is some kind of demand in the Philippines, that there are kind of money moving around, but there's no proper product for them to enjoy. That's why, okay, let's move on. And on top of that, when my father heard about the project cost of this Hann casino and the Swiss hotel, which is something like around 400 million US dollars, he said, that's too big. Why you're doing this? You're making enough money. Why you need to make more money? And
Have they been? Did you
yes,
take
he's
them
been here. It's
to
been,
visit? What did mom and dad think?
He's very proud of. He's very proud of myself.
Also, he doesn't think that you made a bad decision then. Then that friction has come off a little bit.
Yes, that is a result. But during that time, when I was really kind of contemplating whether I have to really move forward or not, and then my father was saying, "You better not, because it's too big." And I told my father, "Dad, it's not about making more money. It's about survival. Because what if I talked to my dad? What if a couple of years down the road, those big companies, if they realize the potential of Clark, what are they going to do? It's not difficult for them to invest 500 million. even $1 billion in gaming industry, then what's going to happen to me if I'm not ready to compete with them?
And
I'll die out.
what if you didn't get that casino license just after the global financial crisis? I mean,
Then
this is
it-
really interesting. You're a foreign investor and you're coming in, seeing the potential, but really not knowing the full regulatory hurdles.
Yeah.
How was that experience like? Securing your first casino license.
It was pretty difficult, but I was lucky enough to get the license. The journey to get the license, it was not easy. There are a number of people approached me, they can buy a license from me. The cost is something certain amount of money, but I didn't have money. That's why I had to reject them. Not because I didn't believe them. The first, I didn't have money. But on this journey, I met somebody who assisted me to get the license, and I was lucky enough to get the license.
How things have gone in the past maybe 2 decades you've been here? There's been the ease of doing business, ARTA law, anti-red tape authority.
Yeah.
Have those made a change in the way you do business as a foreign investors in those 20 years with these enabling laws?
Not really, because we have to understand what is my strength and my weakness, and what is the strength of my competitor and what is the weakness of their competitors. I mean weakness of the competitor and strength of competitor. So when I came to the Philippines, my first impression was I thought that if I don't have somebody supporting me, like let's say politicians or whatever high ups from the government, then it is almost impossible to set up business in the Philippines. That's what I thought. So I looked for a consultant, and I got 2 Filipino, and then I worked with them for 6 months, and nothing happened. So I was kind of a little frustrated, and I asked for a meeting with the head of marketing of CDC and with my consultant. And after the meeting, CDC marketing gave me a few lists of different documents, and then the consultant, the way they interpret it was like, he's asking for money. This is the way we run business in the Philippines. I said, no, I don't think so. So there was kind of quarrel. There's a debate, and then after that, I had to terminate them. And the following day, I talked to this head of marketing of CDC, and I asked for the list of all of the documents, and I told him I'll get back to you in 2 to 3 months, and I'll fulfill most of them, and then that's the time we kick off to the next stage. That's how I started. So I worked all by myself. So you talked about this so-called red tape, or bureaucracy. To me, the bureaucracy lies everywhere. Even in Korea, it stays everywhere you go. So my weakness was I'm just single foreigner. I was just nobody. So what I had to do is I had to follow the rules. When you follow the rules, then what kind of danger you're going to be in the future? But it is not easy to follow the rules and at the same time to make it efficient. So what I've done is I've studied things much earlier in advance, maybe a couple of years in advance, and I talk to my staff and I talk to my consultant, what is the regulation, what is the law, and then we study different options and we see what's happening in this business environment. Instead of having, for instance, even though you can have 4 different options, but a lot of times what I've seen is, okay, the first option is recommended, and then you focus on first option, and when it doesn't work, and you jump into the second option, and then when you jump into the second option, you have to start from scratch. So what we've done is we study all 3 or 4 options, and then we study everything together until it's finalized, all of the risk is done. Okay, now we go to the first option or second option. And then after that, we study different options to make ourselves very flexible. That's what I have done. And so far, it works. It works, yeah.
And none of those options require paying anybody off to get the job done.
No, what I had to do, of course, sometimes it didn't work. So what I had to do is I kind of slow down on my business plan. And then I study. When I slow down, what I do is, okay, I try to study all of different like marketability, feasibility for the future when the time comes, and then when we somehow resume this activity, then how we're going to make it better. Instead of trying to pay somebody and then bribe them. That's what I've done. So far, it works. Yeah.
When was the recent time that you slowed down the pace of your expansion then, as
Uh,
you encountered this problem?
it was like I was couple of years ago during COVID, and then it's not because of COVID, but that time it was kind of difficult to communicate with government agencies. Maybe because everybody was kind of down, everybody was so uncertain because of COVID. Maybe I was looking for certain certain property back then, but I wasn't able to push through with it. That's why I've decided to be more aggressive at Hand Reserve. Now, a couple of years later, I see that that decision was better decision. A lot of times, this is what I see. A lot of times, I want to go this way, but a lot of times, you realize that this way doesn't work. So you have to find the second way, alternatives. I think the difference is I was able to make this alternative better than the original one.
This is for Hand Reserve?
Yeah, this is for Henry. So even my first business, I came to the Philippines for golf development, but I wasn't able to find the property for golf. So I've decided to invest in hotel industry, and I realized there's like I can apply for a casino license. What if with this small amount of this investment, what if I had acquired this golf project? I didn't have money to invest in hotel. Then casino license is not my one of my option, right? So when I felt that golf project is not going to be feasible, I immediately switched to the next one, and I worked hard to make sure that this next one is going to be better than the first one. Now, ironically, I come back to this golf industry, and then I'm building the biggest golf resort in the Philippines.
It is, and it'll be in Hand Reserve in New Clark City.
Yeah.
A big project such as that does encounter maybe ecological or maybe environmental impacts.
Sure.
What kinds of challenges have you faced in coming up with the master plan for Hand Reserve, and how did you go about it and around it?
Okay. Before we talk about this ecological impact on nature, when I decided to use golf as a differentiator, I was looking for the property. And then I picked that property not because I love the property, because that's the only property that I could have. But initially I didn't like it because it's very challenging terrain. It's very hilly. But when you develop a golf course, if you have kind of more somehow like smooth terrain, that is the construction cost is going to be cheaper. That's what I actually wanted, but there's no property available. And when I came up with this idea, I talked to different hotel brands. Hey, I have this idea. I want to bring this luxury brand here, there, and they were saying, even I hired a hospitality consultant from Hong Kong. They're one of the biggest in the region. And they're saying, no, it doesn't work. You are going to bring luxury, not in Boracay, not in Cebu, in Clark. Who knows Clark? No, I don't think that works. Why don't you build another 5-star hotel? And I told them, I have like 2 5-star hotel, and then somebody is building one, and then I know that somebody will build more. Why I have to jump into this very competitive market? I want to create something different. And they said, no, but it's very risky. So I told them, okay. And I talked to 5 very big architectural firms for this competition. I told them, this is my idea, and I'm going to have competition. The first prize is like this, whatever. And I picked one that I like. And I asked them to lay down all of my idea there. And after that, I talked to hotel brands. Hey, this is my idea. What do you think? Oh, it's very interesting. I think it will work. That's how it started. And they didn't believe this thing. But one of the main reasons why I decided to do this kind of luxury brand and luxury development there is because in the Philippines, if you go to very poor country in Southeast Asia, then near capital, at least there are a couple of very high-end resorts. We're in the Philippines. Usually you have to fly out. But your journey to the airport is very hectic. Inside the airport, the journey, your experience is not very good as well. when it comes to real estate development, accessibility is very, very important, right? So that's why, what if I build this luxury mountain resort, and then I can capture like the market from Metro Manila because I'm going to be the only one, something like that. That's how I started. And now you just talked about this ecological impact. So what all of the development we're trying to do is, in the beginning, I have hired number of consultants from, let's say, from Singapore, from States, to study how we're going to control this, how we're going to embrace this nature together. And we have done a lot of, we have spent like at least a year or two to study this thing. And we came up with the number of ideas, like when it rains, there was swamp, which will go to certain reservoir, we'll pump it up to recycle this water. And in case of golf course, the species that we're using, the grass, that is almost like 20 times more expensive than regular Bermuda grass. But it will consume less than 50% of that of Bermuda grass. So it requires a reasonable amount of water when it's stabilized. When it's stabilized, it's very strong against this the heat, and then even though there is no rain for a couple of months, it is very strong, so that we don't need to consume a lot of water. And we want to make sure that this is eco-friendly development. That's why we have engaged with the different different consultant to have different certificates for this ecosystem, all this kind of stuff. That's what we do.
But how do you make the money back sooner than you probably would want? Because we're talking about premium golf courses that cost a lot more.
Yeah.
Last time I checked, it was 70% more expensive than the next decent golf course you'd find here in Manila. And you also have the environmental aspect to consider. How is that going to happen? As you know, the tourist arrivals from China, from Korea, haven't really come back.
Yeah.
Neither have the high rollers.
True.
So those are challenges.
Yeah, it's challenges. Okay, now, it's like this. Right now, the market is very, very competitive, whether it's gaming industry or retail industry, everywhere you go. So one of the most important things is you have to make yourself different. How to make yourself different? I've been studying that for years, and I decided to use golf as a differentiator. Of course, if my business model is just to build golf course and then make money out of this thing, then I'm not so sure if I could done this thing. But the way my business model is to make money out of gaming. And gaming revenue is right now is at something like almost like 85% of my revenue. In case of IR, they're building a lot of fancy stuff, right? So I was thinking, okay, they're building this concert hall, which is going to be like something like 100 million US dollars, 150 million US dollars. It's really, really nice. What if I build this something really, really nice golf course with that amount of money? Then this is going to be the differentiator, because other IRs, they don't have simply property to build golf course. They can bring this kind of nature experience for the golfers. So this is one of the main differentiator. That's why I have to spend money, not because my business model is to make money from out of golf course development, but also that is supporting facility for the gaming.
Gaming. Let's talk more about that, because it's bifurcated into two: the traditional casinos, which you have in your resort and would be reserved, and also online games, which have really become so popular. The regulator here considers it a pivotal and a change maker in a whole ecosystem of gaming. How are you getting on in that trend, and how do you see it growing your gross gaming revenues?
I think the online gaming market itself, I think, is still have a room to grow further. And okay, we're making money in the society. So right now, not only gaming industry, but different industries, for instance, retail. One of the important topic is omni-channel, omni-experience. What is it? Online, offline together. I attend this ICE Expo, which is for this online gaming in Barcelona in January this year. And on the way to Barcelona, I read this certain article from Forbes saying that this wellness industry is really kind of growing so fast. So I was thinking, I'm on the way to this eyes for this online. Everything is within this gadget, and the wellness is very totally different. And that this industry is booming, and the other industry is booming. And how should I understand this thing? Because human beings are multi-dimensional, not only one. So that's why, again, this online offline experience is very, 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 very crucial right now. Let's say golf, right? Beginning of this year, Tiger Woods and those people, they launched this TGL. How many people could imagine, like 2 years ago, that Tiger Woods, McIlroy, everybody, those famous golfers, they're playing indoor? How many people? Very, very few people, right? But that's what's happening. What is it? This is something like omni-experience. So when I went to Barcelona, I was able to talk to different companies, and the one company specifically, I cannot name them, but they're very interested with my idea, this so-called omni-experience. What does that mean? We're going to bring online, offline experience together. Whatever you do online, you come here and you're going to have immersive experience in offline. That's one thing, the product itself. And second, I'm a Korean who has run business like almost 20 years in the Philippines. So I've been talking to a few Korean companies to bring so-called this K culture. Right now, this K culture is very, very, very powerful. And like, let's say K-pop, K-drama, K-beauty, K-food, and everything. I'm a Korean who knows Korean culture better than any Filipino. And I know how to run business in the Philippines. In the beginning, actually, like maybe a couple of years ago, when I tried to talk to a Korean company, they were saying, "Who are you? I don't recognize you. Why I have to do business with you?" But now they see what I have done. So there are quite a number of companies interested talking to me. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring this Korean culture. What does that mean? This Korean culture, whatever experience I'm going to bring, if somebody log in my online.com, they can redeem their points to experience this thing, to buy Korean product, whatever they can do. That's what we're going to do. This online gaming, I know there's like big companies there. And I know they're not lucky. They're not only lucky to be there, they have something different. So in order to compete with those guys, I have to have something different. How can I compete with this big giant with same weapon they have? I cannot beat them. I need to have something different they cannot have. I'm going to use golf for this luxury market, and then this Korean experience for this mass market. That's what I'm going to do.
But there are regulatory challenges ahead of you. The Senate has just filed a bill restricting online gaming in terms of the minimum age requirement for participants, as well as the minimum betting amounts. How do you think that will impact the growth and the investment that you are going to make in online gaming?
Well, in case of growth of that market itself, maybe it wouldn't, I mean, the pacing, it will slow down. But, as a government, as a regulator, it is very reasonable for them to come up with something stricter like regulation, because, there is some kind of negative side in the society. I see that. So it is very foreseeable for me to see this regulator will come up with something stricter. But to me, whatever I'm doing right now is not only about online. It's about online, offline together, omni experience. So it won't affect any of my plan. That's what I see.
So how are you looking at gross gaming revenues then? Is it 85-15, 85 more on non-gaming versus 15 gaming? What's the makeup going to look like? Are we going to look more like a Macau or maybe a Las Vegas?
Oh, well, Macau, I don't think, in case of Macau, their percentage of contribution of Macau against that of Philippines, I don't think there's big difference. But there's big difference against that of Las Vegas. Right now, like around like 60% or whatever, 65% from non-gaming. But Las Vegas is quite different, because even though Las Vegas is very known international tourist destination, but more than what I see is that around 80% of their revenue is supported by the domestic states there, but we don't have that. So that's why we need to lure this international market. And U.S. economy is the biggest one. So even though there's some nice show, food, whatever, there's like so many people having consumption power there. Is that what we have here in the Philippines? Not really. That's why what I see is it will take very long to follow this Las Vegas proportion, but definitely this non-gaming importance of this non-gaming sector is going to be more and more and more important, not only because of revenue that we can generate from non-gaming, but to drive people in, attract people in, because there should be something different. There's so many alternatives there right in front of you. Why you have to pick this one? Because it has to be different. How to make it different? Not because of gaming, because gaming is same. This non-gaming facility.
But whom are you trying to attract, given that you've been in business since 2021 with Hann Casino Resort? Which nationalities have been coming over, and how do they compare with the amount of business that the locals bring forth? Considering you do have competition coming from Solaire North. They've been in business for over a year now.
Yeah, okay. As far as headcount is concerned, we have around 70% of them are local. Around 30% of them are foreigner. And around 95% of this 30% are Korean. But as far as revenue is concerned, it says something like 50-50. Okay, one of the reasons why I decided to use golf as a differentiator, I don't know whether you play golf or not, but golf is very addictive game, right? It makes people very frustrated, same as gaming. You know, these Asian golfers, when they go to the first teeing ground, what do? They talk about what is going to be bet today. It's going to be lunch, caddy fee, or whatever. People with this kind of mentality, when they go to casino, what would they do? They play, whether it's small or big. It's very, very different culture from Westerners and Asians. That is the reason why, and it was verified that when I have this concert, let's say 1,000 people come, and then turnover ratio to the gaming is like, let's say 10% or something. But golfers, I'm very confident to say it's more than 60% because of that kind of mentality. Now, you are very addicted to, let's say, golf, and then you are addicted to a game. For instance, where would you go in the Philippines? None right now. But when I open golf course, it is going to be the best in the Philippines. This is the place that you can enjoy both, that you are addicted to, right? So this is the way to expand the market.
But to be fair, golf is seen as a more of a privileged sport.
Okay.
So there goes the disconnect there between a country who loves basketball.
Yeah.
You see basketball being played in the little tiny streets here in the Philippines.
Right.
How do you educate then to draw a bigger mass of people appreciating golf to draw into your golf-led resorts?
Okay. In Korea, when I was young, when I was in high school, there are only like, let's say, a couple of hundred people played golf when I was high school. But since Seri Park, she's one of the legendary golfer. She won U.S. Open. That's the time golf boom came to Korea. Not only that one, that time Korean economy was really booming. So golf is, as you mentioned, kind of expensive, right? But Philippine economy is like growing at least 5 to 6% per annum. It is not easy to find a country achieving that kind of growth. And that's one thing. So what I see is over a long run, Philippine economy will go up and up and up. And what if we can have somebody like Filipino talented golfer like Seri Park? What if somebody wins? Then this will inspire a lot of young Filipinos as well. So what I do is I sign exclusive contract with PGA. And then we're going to have PGA Golf Academy. And we're going to have this different most advanced golf training facility there. And then I'm going to have international school as well. So this area is not only, it's a little bit contradicting, but the way I make money, but there's another aspect of doing something to the society as well. So what we plan to do is to educate these young people to how to play golf, and then just train them and give them opportunity to get exposed to this like a big tournament. And if this guy wins, like I forgot her name, but right now this tennis, right? She's one of the topic, right?
Alexeyeva.
Yeah, right. So what if we can raise somebody like her in golf? That's what we do.
Picking up on society, as you've mentioned it to be your other goal, how many jobs have you created so far, and how many do you intend to when Hand Reserve opens?
We have, including contractor, we have something like 4,500 right now. When Hann Reserve, everything is done it will take time because it's 450 hectare property. It will take time. But when it's done in, let's say, 10, 15 years, we're expecting almost like 15,000 employees.
Have you done up the maths on its contribution to the local economy in Central Luzon?
Not really. I haven't hired a consultant to study that kind of economical impact, but I know this is going to be a really, really big impact. And we really somehow help society. Yeah.
Which takes us back to your IPO.
Yeah.
What's the timeline for the use of the proceeds, and how much money are you putting in for the various stages? As we've just talked about phase 1, and then there is phases 2 and 3 coming up.
Yeah. As you know, I plan to go for IPO toward the end of September. That's the target. And with the proceed, I'm expecting something like 200 million US dollars. With that, there are two main projects that I plan to use to proceed. One is I'm building Intercon and Novotel with something like 1,000 room keys with the different like F&B outlet, gaming, and different so-called K-culture experiential zone there. That's one thing. And then the other one is Hann Reserve. First golf course is due to open by the end of the year, or if not January next year, but we're trying our best to open like this year, February, December. And second one is under construction as well, and it due to open end of next year. And then we have different non-gaming facility there. So like all of this proceed, not only the proceed, we use this proceed to assist us for this future expansion, but not to mention that as long as we make it right, whatever the revenue we can generate from operation is going to be used for expansion as well.
So what does Dad think about all this? We were just talking about a 30 square meter space in your hometown in Korea, and now you're building 450 hectares more.
Yeah.
And in Clark.
Yeah, he's very proud of me. Actually, he's like as I mentioned, we had a lot of conflict when I used to work for my father, but now he's really proud of me. And even me myself, I've never imagined myself having this big company, never. But what I've done is I always try to do what I need to do, and when I'm firm on something, I'm very makulit.
Makulit.
I'm very persistent.
I thought I heard it wrongly, but yes.
Yeah. I'm very persistent. No matter what happens, I do it. Yeah,
so what advice would you then give in a society, perhaps entrepreneurs in a society where we're supposed to respect what parents say? You've totally rebelled against Dad and made him proud of you. What would you tell that kind of crowd right now, the young ones, wanting to blaze your path as well?
Yeah, there are a number of perspectives I somehow really respect in my life, but one of the important thing is, it's up to how much you want. It's not about the value of money, how desperate you want. There are many entrepreneurs, they want to have startup. Why? Because I want to make money. No, it's not enough. It's not easy to make money. There should be something different to motivate you to make yourself so desperate so that you can give up everything, you focus on this. How are you going to make it? It depends on individuals. There might be, it's very simple. Like let's say one thing, when I have this kind of experience, I can get over with this easily, but it may get stopped to somebody else. So that is going to be motivation. That is a thing making yourself so desperate and focused, then you can achieve whatever you want. But many people say, yeah, I want to do this. Really, how much do you want? That's the question you have to ask yourself.
I hope to see you in September at the trading floor
Yeah.
of the Philippine Stock Exchange.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All
Thank
the
you.
best.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dasik.
Yeah.
Han Dasik of Han Casino Resorts. Stream all episodes of Thought Leaders with Cathy Yang on Spotify and on the One News PH YouTube channel. And if you haven't done so, like or follow my social media pages. I'm Cathy Yang. This is Thought Leaders.